Hello, fellow wood shavers. For tonight's shave, I'll be using my brush from Spanish artisan El Druida, Mr. Fine's Lavender Aftershave, which is no longer in production. Berry and man, rosemary, and peppermint. And as far as the razors go, I'll be using this Saito sk1, which, as you can see, that's a wicked smile. This is barely my fifth shave with this razor. It's a little troublesome to shave right, and as you can see, that's an extra hollow grind, and there's a belly right there. But it does not behave like a regular hollow grind because the smile itself is so extreme. The blade itself is real stiff, so it feels as slight as a regular full hollow, but it doesn't have that much of that feedback. And you'll get to hear that right now. And since I don't really like round points, I'm not really proficient with round points when it comes to trimming my stash, I'll be using this other Japanese razor, cherub, and this one right here has a French point, and this one it's a full hollow, as you can see. And when I clean up with this, when I clean my face up with this, you'll hear the feedback. And this one, it's ground not as thin as this one, but this one has so much more feedback just because it's a straight blade, so it flexes, and it's also shoulderless, so it doesn't really have that stabilizer here that will make it like give it a little bit more like body, like more support. So the blade does flex quite a bit, and that's why you hear a lot of that feedback. So let's start. So get the face wet. I've been shaving every day for these last 3 days, and I do have some stubble, so you can see how effective this Saito is. I've been, as I mentioned, I only have shaved with it about 6 times. And honestly, I expected a bit better, but I do understand that there's a learning curve with a blade that it's so out of the ordinary. It's not straight. It's hollow. It feels light, but yet it doesn't have that feedback that you come to associate with regular regular full hollows. So let me tell you about the brush. This brush is custom made, and I really love this design of like the old barber brushes. But this one, it's because it's a bit shorter, so it works well for bowl lathering and for face lathering as well. And it's made out of black African wood, and the top of it is, it's really good ivory resin. It actually looks like the real thing. Okay, so let's start. So they already been stropped, and I have a tendency to strop beforehand. Gives a little time to like moisture of the soap, to penetrate your skin. Okay. And let's start. You can hear some light feedback, but not as much as you will get from an actual, like, if this blade was straight, you'll hear the ringing. Aside from the lack of feedback for a blade that is, that is this hollow, there's another thing that you actually have to watch out for with this blade. And I noticed this when I was honing this. There, anybody that's familiar with honing wedges notices that most of them are smiling blades. And you usually hone those by practicing the rolling X stroke. What that means is, I'll try to show you right here on a flat surface. Because this is ground, this is, the curve on this is so extreme. When you lay it on the stone, only the central part of the razor, it's touching the stone. So what you have to do is start from the heel and then kind of swipe up. I'm exaggerating this, but you start from the heel and then just go up. Obviously, stroking forward. So you'll start like this. And the same thing for the other side. Start with the heel. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's a bit deceiving because the bevel stops somewhere around here. So it's a really, really short blade. So the bad is that it's actually the cons about this is that it takes a bit getting used to because of that curve. Oops, I just dropped my phone. Well, I'm just gonna. Okay, here we go once again. That was kind of scary. Okay, now the second pass. And for the second pass, and for the sake of comparison, I'm gonna use, a more traditional Japanese razor. This one's full hollow. And you'll hear right now, although you're not gonna see it, but when I strop this, you're gonna hear the feedback. I don't know if the microphone of the phone can pick this up, but there's a slight ringing at the end of each stroke. One of the things to love about the Japanese razors is that they're shorter than regular straight razors. So they're a little bit easier to maneuver around certain areas. And sometimes in German razors, you will find that the grind is a bit uneven, sometimes, German craftsmanship can leaves something to be desired. The few Japanese razors that I found, they're all like, it's, you can tell that they're excellent craftsmen. They're Japanese, you know, that everything's so precise. Obviously not as much feedback because there's not that much hair left. I just love these Japanese razors. And all of them take, their edges are so perfect, you know it. It's always under the chin. Okay. Not perfect, but acceptable. So when I finish, I always like to scrub my razors to keep the edge dry. And as you notice, I keep on raising the blade every time that I do a couple of passes. And I dry my hands every time that I grab the razor because I don't want to get the scales wet. Especially in this high carbon steel blades. They get stained real quick. On top of that, this particular Saito, the scales are celluloid, and as you cannot really see in the video, but they're brownish. They used to be black because the material that they're made with degrades over time. You know, the scales release some gases, and they actually left some pitting along the blade. The edge wasn't damaged, which is good. But you always want to keep your razors dry and in a place where air can get to them. I don't like to waste, so I use whatever's left over in the knot, whatever stuff is left over in the knot to wash my face. Oh. Rinse with cold water. Oh, I have a couple of nicks and this is gonna bite. Oh. Feel the burn. Okay. And that's it for tonight, and hopefully you guys like the video.